writing soft wishes across the quiet midnight sky. There is a particular moment in the night when the world becomes very still. It comes after the last footsteps have faded from the streets, after the dishes have been put away, after the lights in the windows begin disappearing one by one, after the hurried thoughts of the day have finally grown tired of running. For a little while, the world seems to hold its breath, and in that quiet moment, when midnight has settled gently over the rooftops, the sky becomes ready for writing. Far above the sleeping world, beyond the highest clouds, there is a small studio that no map has ever marked. It has no walls, it has no doors, its ceiling is the endless night itself. The floor is made of soft silver mist, and beneath it, the earth turns slowly and silently. This is the Midnight Studio, and every night, when the world grows quiet enough, someone comes there to write. No one knows exactly who the writer is. Some say it is an old astronomer who learned the secret language of stars. Some say it is a keeper of dreams. Others believe the writer is simply a quiet friend of the night, someone who has listened for centuries to the wishes people make when they think no one is listening. Whatever the truth may be, the ritual is always the same. The writer arrives just before midnight. They carry a small wooden case. Inside it rests a silver-tipped quill. Beside the quill is a tiny glass jar filled with swirling indigo light. The jar looks almost empty at first, but when the lid is opened, the darkness inside begins to move. Tiny blue sparks spiral upward. A thread of violet curls around them. A little silver glow appears at the bottom. The starlight inside the jar is never still. It turns slowly, like a miniature galaxy. This is the ink of the midnight sky, and it is made from something very rare. Quiet wishes, not the loud wishes shouted into the world. Not the wishes made for applause or recognition. The Midnight Studio collects the wishes people whisper only to themselves. The wish of someone hoping tomorrow will be kinder. The wish of a child hoping to be brave. The wish of a traveller hoping to find home. The wish of a tired heart hoping to begin again. The wish of someone who has lost something and quietly hopes to find peace. The wish of someone who has been waiting a very long time for a door to open. And sometimes the smallest wishes of all. I hope I sleep peacefully tonight. I hope someone understands me. I hope morning feels a little lighter. These are the wishes the midnight writer comes to gather. They arrive invisibly. A sigh rising from a bedroom. A thought carried beside a moonlit window. A silent hope formed beneath closed eyes. The writer listens, and when a wish reaches the Midnight Studio, the jar of indigo starlight grows a little brighter. Tonight there are many. The world below has been especially quiet. The writer sits beside the open jar. They lift the silver-tipped quill. For a moment nothing happens. Then the first drop of indigo starlight gathers at its tip. It glows like a tiny blue moon. The writer touches the quill to the velvet darkness and begins. The first stroke is almost invisible, a delicate curve and then another, then a long graceful line that stretches across the horizon. As the quill moves, the ink shines. Each stroke becomes a thread of light. Each letter becomes a small river of blue. Each word leaves behind a faint constellation of silver sparks. The writer does not simply copy the wishes. They listen for what lies beneath them. Because a wish can have many words, but beneath those words there is usually something simpler. Someone may wish for success, but perhaps what they truly want is to feel that their efforts matter. Someone may wish for a new beginning, but perhaps what they truly need is permission to stop carrying the past. Someone may wish for another person to return, but perhaps underneath the longing there is a deeper wish to feel loved again. The quill understands these things, so the writer does not write only the words, they write the feeling inside them. A wish for courage becomes a bright, steady star. A wish for peace becomes a long silver curve. A wish for healing becomes a soft blue crescent. A wish for belonging becomes a cluster of warm little lights gathered close together. And a wish for hope becomes something particularly beautiful. it becomes a star that seems to glow even when surrounded by darkness. The writer continues, slowly, patiently, there is no need to hurry. The sky has all night. Below, people sleep. A grandmother turns beneath her blanket. A young man finally closes the book he has been reading. A little girl dreams beside a window. Someone working a late shift looks up at the stars for just a moment before returning home. They do not know that their quiet wishes are being written above them. They do not know that the sky is listening. They only know that sometimes, in the middle of an ordinary night, they feel a little less alone. The writer dips the quill again. Another wish arrives. This one belongs to someone who has spent the day pretending everything is fine. The writer pauses, then gently writes, "You do not have to be strong every moment." The words shimmer, the ink settles into the sky. A small constellation forms around them, not a constellation that can be named in any book of astronomy, but one that belongs to anyone who has ever carried more than they could explain. The writer looks at it for a moment, then smiles. The work continues. Soon the midnight sky is covered with scattered strokes. But the wishes are not yet complete. They must be woven together. Because the Midnight Studio has one important rule: no wish is meant to exist entirely alone. The writer lifts the quill and begins connecting the stars. One silver line stretches from a tiny blue star in the east to a golden point of light in the west. Another curves upward, another bends gently downward. Soon, separate wishes begin to form patterns. A constellation appears like an open hand, another resembles a doorway, another looks like a boat floating peacefully across a dark sea. The writer watches carefully. Every star must have a place. Every wish must be anchored. Too many stars in one place and the sky becomes crowded. Too few, and a wish might feel forgotten. So the writer balances them with patience, a little farther apart, a little closer together. One more line here, one soft curve there. The constellations begin to breathe. They are no longer separate wishes, they have become stories. 1,000 private hopes are now part of one great picture. A person wishing for courage becomes connected to someone wishing for a new beginning. Someone wishing for love becomes connected to someone wishing to forgive. Someone wishing to go home becomes connected to someone else wishing to find a place where they belong. The sky begins telling a story that no single person could have written alone. It tells the story of humanity quietly hoping for better things. And from the earth below, it looks like an ordinary starry sky. But the Midnight Studio knows better. Every constellation carries a secret. Every star has a wish behind it. Every shimmering line was once a thought held quietly inside someone's heart. The writer continues mapping the sky. Hours pass without seeming to pass at all. The moon rises higher. The clouds drift slowly beneath the studio. The earth turns. And then, sometime after midnight, the August moon reaches its highest point. It is a beautiful moon, full and silver. Its light spills across the sky like liquid glass. The writer puts down the quill. The writing is nearly finished. Now comes the final part of the ritual. The wishes must be sealed. The writer stands. They lift the jar of indigo ink toward the moon. The swirling light inside the jar becomes brighter. Silver threads begin to rise from it. They float upward, winding around the constellations. The moonbeams touch the fresh ink, and something wonderful happens. The indigo writing begins to glow, not brightly, not harshly. It glows softly, like a nightlight beside a sleeping child's bed. The silver moonlight settles into every letter, into every curve, and into every tiny star. The wishes become part of the sky, not trapped there, not forgotten there, simply held, safe until the people who made them are ready to carry them again. The writer moves slowly across the Midnight Studio, checking each constellation. A wish for courage, still glowing. A wish for peace, still glowing. A wish for forgiveness, still glowing. A wish for a second chance, still glowing. A wish that simply says, "Let tomorrow be gentle." The writer pauses beside this one. Of all the wishes in the sky, it may be the quietest, but perhaps that is why it shines so beautifully. The writer touches the silver tip of the quill to it one last time and adds a tiny star. Then the writer steps back. The entire midnight sky is alive with writing. Indigo strokes shimmer between the stars. Silver moonbeams weave through them. Constellations stretch across the darkness like handwritten poetry. For a moment, the whole world seems connected by invisible threads. A person sleeping beside an ocean, a child dreaming beneath a city apartment, a traveller resting in a mountain village, someone awake in a quiet room, looking through a window. Someone who has been lonely, someone who is beginning again, someone who is waiting, someone who has finally found peace. All of their wishes are there, not identical, not equally bright, not travelling toward the same destination, but together, held beneath the same moon. The writer takes one final look at the horizon. There is a faint change in the darkness. A thin line of blue has appeared far to the east. Dawn is coming. It is time. The writer carefully lifts the quill. The last drop of indigo ink hangs from its silver tip. They place the quill back inside its wooden case. The jar is nearly empty now. Only a few tiny stars remain swirling inside. The writer closes the lid. Tomorrow night there will be more. There always are. Before leaving, the writer turns toward the sky one final time. The constellations are ready. Soon people will wake. Some will remember their dreams, some will not. Some will wake with a clear sense of what they hope to do. Others will simply feel, without knowing why, that something inside them has become a little lighter. The constellations will remain for them, a quiet reminder that wishes do not always need to be spoken aloud, that hope does not always arrive loudly. Sometimes it is only a tiny thought in the darkness, sometimes it is a breath. Sometimes it is the simple decision to try again tomorrow. And sometimes a wish is nothing more than, I hope things get better. The Midnight Studio understands. The writer looks down at the sleeping earth, then whispers one final blessing into the fading night. May every quiet hope find a little light. The first edge of dawn touches the clouds. The constellations begin to fade. Not disappear, just soften. Their indigo letters become pale blue. Their silver edges become almost invisible. And as morning arrives, the wishes settle gently into the hearts of the people who made them. The writer closes the wooden case. The midnight studio grows still. The silver mist begins to dissolve, and the mysterious writer disappears into the last shadow of night. But the sky remembers. It always remembers. And when evening comes again, when the world becomes quiet, when the last lights disappear from the windows, when someone somewhere looks up at the stars and makes a wish without telling anyone, the jar of indigo starlight will begin to glow. The silver-tipped quill will be lifted once more, and across the velvet darkness of midnight, another beautiful sentence will begin. A sentence written just for you, a sentence written for someone you may never meet. A sentence written for every heart that still carries a little hope. So tonight, if you happen to look toward the sky and notice a constellation you have never seen before, perhaps it is not new at all. Perhaps it is yours. Perhaps it is the shape of something you once wished for quietly. Perhaps it is a reminder that somewhere beyond the sleeping clouds, the midnight studio is still awake, and the quill is still writing, slowly, gently, patiently, one soft wish at a time, until the whole sky is glowing, until the world is resting, until morning comes, and until another night begins.